Welcome into another edition of Insomnia Maniacs Tarot with your host, Tropical Empress in Spirit. Hi, beautiful people. Hi, Sage. Hi, Tim. Hey, Shelby. How y'all doing? Happy Thursday. How's y'all day been? Anything interesting happened today? Y'all get anything done? Or did y'all take it easy? I know I didn't get as much done today as I wanted to, but... well, I reckon I'm gonna be working all weekend. Since I didn't get to touch half the stuff I had intended on touching today. But that's okay. Sometimes my body gets too stubborn to want to go to sleep, so... or at least when I want it to sleep. Hey Tim, how you doing? Y'all have a good day today? Hopefully it's been a wonderful day for y'all. I gotta admit though, it doesn't feel like a Thursday. I don't know what day it feels like to me. It doesn't feel like Thursday though. That's good to hear. Yeah, my day's been good. I mean, other than I didn't get as much done as I had anticipated on doing, but that's because I didn't go to bed till a bit later. Hi, beautiful Viviane. How you doing, gorgeous? Oh, crap. I forgot again, didn't I? I completely forgot about the meeting. Doggone it. I keep doing that, Viviane. There's some weeks that I remember, and I remember to check my email, and it slipped my mind today. Because I actually thought it was last Thursday. And I'm like, oh gosh, thank you. You know, I remembered, you know, plenty of time to get up and be ready. So everything was set up for the stream, so I didn't have to, you know, feel so rushed. Yeah, it was the wrong week. Darn it. I'll make it to one of the meetings here soon. So how you doing, gorgeous? How you liking your new place? You caught my collective read earlier. Oh, I'm glad you watched it, honey. Hopefully there were some messages in there for you. Yeah, I gotta wait to see how long it takes for the next one to post, because it's a little bit longer. But hopefully it'll upload in no time. That's awesome to hear, beautiful. I know you're enjoying it. I know I would enjoy having my own space. Especially, you know, getting out of a toxic area or environment. No, thank you. You're so sweet, honey. You always look fabulous, too. You watched it, too, Tim. Well, hopefully it resonated with some of y'all. Hey, Eternal. How you doing, honey? And because I actually saw you... I saw your notification come across, and I was getting ready to jump on it, and then something happened. I think I got a phone call or something, so I didn't get to get on and watch it like I had anticipated I would. Oh, goodness gracious. My cats in the other room are going crazy. I think they're tearing up that room in there. Is that right, Cashmere? Yeah, that sounds like something a typical troll would say. You fell asleep watching my live last night. I've heard that before. I think there's several people that tend to fall asleep watching me. I'm glad you could fall asleep listening to me. I think if I didn't know better, I would have taken it, you know, like I'm boring or something. But everybody always says no. It's a good thing. Aw, that's nice of Georgia. What did she make tonight, Eternal? My voice is so calming. Well, I'm glad it is to y'all. You know, y'all know that some of the people out there want me to do ASMR. I'm just like, yeah, I don't know how I would do all that. Because I think I would just do the same thing over again. Oh, thank you, Sage. Hey, Shelby. How you doing, beautiful? Salad and sandwiches, huh? Well, what kind of sandwiches did she make? She make grilled cheeses? You're tired? I'm sorry, beautiful. I should enter into a theme song. What kind of theme song? You worked until 9. Oh, so you worked until pretty much the mall closed. Oh, okay. That sounds good. I haven't had chicken salad in a long time. That does sound good, though. So what kind of salad y'all have? What was it, just regular lettuce? Like a heavy bass guitar? Huh. That's interesting. No, I can't sing worth a damn. And it's crazy because I did take chorus back in middle school. Oh, okay. So your store isn't actually at the mall. It's somewhere else, like in a strip mall or something. Okay, shopping mall plaza. I got you, girlfriend. Some kind of Tex-Mex. Well, that sounds good, Eternal. I love me some Mexican food right now. That sounds good. You may snooze soon. Hey, that's quite alright with me, girlfriend. I'm happy you stop in and say hi to me when you do. Oh, I didn't know you was going to physical therapy, Sage. What are you going to physical therapy for, honey? Cabbage, kale, tortilla, Chris. That sounds good. Oh, yes. Thank you, Sage. Yeah, beautiful people. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button, please. It don't cost nothing to do all that. I greatly appreciate y'all for it. You wish you had a Red Bull right now. Why's that, Tim? Why, you're getting sleepy? I got plenty of Red Bull over here for you. See, Red Bull's my coffee. So I'm always drinking it. If I'm not drinking Mountain Dew, or once in a great while, I might pull a Coke. If I have any Coke in the house, which I don't think I do right now. I think the only other thing that's in my house is Dr. Pepper, and that's, ugh, I don't know how anybody drinks that. Oh, I got you. Oh, well, that's good, Shelby. Well, I'm sure that helps. Oh, no. No, I love root beer. I'll definitely drink that. But I just can't drink Dr. Pepper and Mr. Pibb. Just not my thing. Oh, okay. I didn't know you had all that, honey. But that makes sense, though, because I know, you know, since you and I both have the same condition, I read that that was a lot of those different, what do they call it, muscular diseases or conditions or something could be a contributing factor for the cyst. Hello, Ace Ventura. How you doing, honey? So you experience a different kind of chronic pain all the time. I hate to hear that, honey. How does that help with your cyst? I mean, I know you had yours drained, right? So it may not affect you the same way it affects me right now. Well, Shelby, give it a try, beautiful. You know, see what happens, honey. I know there's some out there that I've heard about that they started prescribing to people that cause weight loss, but I think it was directed more for like people who are diabetic or pre-diabetic. What was that? Ozempic, I think it was. So if this helps you, sweetheart, you know, at least if anything, beautiful, even if it's for a short term, at least maybe it'll put you, you know, set your body up into, you know, changing your habit, because that's probably the hardest thing, is breaking that habit. So if you tend to, like, you know, like to eat more often, or, you know, if you're like an emotional eater, it might be able to help, you know, tame those types of things down. I just saw a bright spirit orb over there. Hi, spirit. Yes, Ace Ventura, it is. Chronic pain is the worst. And I suffer with it, but what am I going to do? I'm not going to allow it to stop me. I just unfortunately have to take something to help with it. You love cream soda? Yeah, I do too. Okay, so you are taking the Ozempic. Okay. Yeah, and it's scary. It's scary to start a new medication like that because it hasn't been on the market long enough to, like, really find out, you know, what are the true side effects to it and long-term effects of it. But then how else you going to test it out unless you allow people to take it and see what happens? Okay, you're not taking it, you're taking something else. Something similar to it, though. Oh, okay, honey. Yeah, we'll have to catch up sometime privately, girlfriend. I know you sent me an email with your phone number and all that in it, so which I appreciate. It's called Porpian. I know I didn't say that right, but yeah, that's all right, girlfriend. Keep going until my body says, okay, you gotta sit down or stand up. And it does do that quite often. It seems like I've noticed it more here lately, which is odd. And the only thing that's different is I've been streaming for over a year now. So I've been sitting more, constantly, which I used to not do. Um, and then one of my subscribers sent me this, lumbar cushion, but it's something I sit on, but I'm kind of wondering if that's part of the issue. I'm not sure yet. I don't want to say it is, but I can't rule it out right now either. But I think if I got, if I was able to get out of the house more like I used to do, um, and especially if I started shooting pool regularly and like running all the errands I used to do, like if y'all saw me at the grocery store, y'all would think I was crazy. Pushing around a grocery cart that was filled to the top. And, of course, I would even have, because I buy the, were those 16.9 ounce Mountain Dew bottles. And, they come in a 6 pack. So, and I would have those like lined up on both sides of the grocery cart. And then I end up having like 2 or 3 cases, 24 pack of water in the bottom. Plus, all the actual food and then, my Red Bull and all that other stuff. And I don't know how I pushed it around, but maybe that's why I was able to get the couch potato up when he fell, because I had already built my body muscle up that way. But yeah, so I think if I started doing that again, as long as, once my body got used to it, it may not be as bad, but it's hard to say right now until I start moving around more again. Oh, yes, honey. Absolutely. I have to. I have to take care of myself better. My my loved ones on the other side keep coming through and saying that to me too. They keep telling me, you need to start taking better care of yourself. You're not getting enough sleep. You're not eating right. You're not getting enough exercise. Like, especially my grandma. She's over there. My mama, not so much, but my grandma, she comes and sees me often and lets me know. And then I get daddy too. Yeah, you're right though, Shelby. I mean, well, it's like you're right, there's so much crap in our food here in the States. But you know what a lot of it is too, I think? I mean, I think it helps to eat, more organic foods, but then that's not realistic for most people because to buy organic, it's outrageously expensive. Or if you have any kind of food allergy, like my stepchild, she is lactose intolerant and she also has, doggone it, what's the name of it? Um, where she can't have wheat. So, so she has to buy, certain foods and it's very expensive. Um, I think that has a lot to do with it, but I also think a lot of it has to do with, honestly, us as a society, we've gotten lazy. We're not as active as we used to be because things have become where it's more automated and things have been made so much easier for us that it doesn't take as much energy for us to do a lot of our daily in and out, routines that we used to have to do 20 plus years ago before the internet came in to play. So I think that's what part of it is. Yeah, it's the convenience of everything. Hey, Shelby, grandmas will do that. I mean, that's true too, Tim. I guess you cannot trust the grocery store unless you go to the farmer's market. But either way, you gotta have some kind of faith and trust that it is what they say it is. And that's right, Shelby, celiac disease. She has celiac disease. So I know she can't, she has to go to a bakery to get bread. Um, and I know there's a lot of foods at the store. She can't, pretty much when you think of all the canned and packaged food, she can't have it because of her celiac disease. So she's forced to go shop at one of those, like a farmer's market, but then they have that one big chain that I think is owned by, Amazon. The, what's that guy's name? And I can't even remember the name of the store, but she has to go do a lot of her shopping there. Whole Foods, yeah, that's where she has to go most time to get most of her foods. And I know it's outrageously expensive. I've shopped in there a couple times myself. So it hurts people like her. You know, you can't just sit there and say, well, cut this out and cut that out. Well, what if they're already cutting those types of foods out and it's just maybe your immune system? Because if you have a food allergy like she does, your immune system is a lot weaker because you got an autoimmune disease. But yeah, check for what, Tim? When you're mentioning the biopsy, honey, I'm lost. Yeah, and she did have a biopsy done, and she was tested for it, and it runs in her family. Like her aunt has it, I believe her mother has it, and I think there's someone else in her family who has it. But a lot of it has to do like she can't have flour, and and then obviously she can't have wheat either. So um instead of getting like wheat or flour, she can have corn in placement of it. Right. Oh, you think you possibly have it? That's not good, baby. That'd be rough because that means you can't really eat out anywhere either. Because most of the restaurants don't serve gluten-free foods. Because that was the other thing. She learned most restaurants, like some of the stuff she used to love eating, she can't have it anymore. And I really feel bad for her. So even though she cut out like a lot of the processed foods, you would have thought she would drop a lot of weight. Because she is a big girl, but she has, in fact, she looks like she's gained more. However, in her defense, she also has 3 kids. So, my oldest grandbaby is 7, and the youngest is 3, 3 or 4. So, okay. Yeah, I seriously doubt she's gonna go in there and have it checked every 10 years. Well, actually, she might because she is a hypochondriac too. Yeah, I know, Sage, and there's a lot of food out there I should avoid for the same reason, but I don't. I'm stubborn. Hey, it's like, it's like I told my doctor, I said, well, at least you don't have to worry about me drinking, because I don't drink. Like, I was trying to remember the last time I had a drop of alcohol, and I think it was like last, I want to say May. No, it was before May. No, I didn't even have one on my birthday. I'll say it was around April last year. Um, I had 2 margaritas at a restaurant when I went out and had dinner with somebody. And that's the last time I've had alcohol. So it's like I don't drink either, so that helps it. But, you know. Yeah, just watch it, see how your body reacts to them. Every single time you eat something that you know has gluten in it, you know, you can always play with your diet just to see. Try, try some foods that are, have gluten in it, and then try for like a week or 2 without gluten. Do gluten free and see if that makes a difference. And that probably give you a good idea then. And then if you pick up gluten again and you start feeling like crap, then you know it's probably the gluten. Yeah. Most Shelby, I'm keeping my fingers crossed, beautiful, that you don't become diabetic. Because, honey, it's not something to play with. No, Sage, there really isn't. I mean, she did find a few. Um, I'd have to ask her. Well, the only one I could, well, actually, there's 2 I know, but they're the expensive restaurants. She loves eating at the Melting Pot, so she'll go there. And the other one is Fugo de Chow's. That's the restaurant she loves going to. So they have gluten free there. Yeah. Hey Shelby, even I gotta keep up with that just because I need to check my blood pressure periodically, just as a precaution for me. And my weight, I mean, the only reason why I'm even worried about my weight is because I notice if I'm a little bit heavier, like at the weight I'm at right now, I feel it in my back more. Um, my ideal weight to make sure like it doesn't have an effect on my back would probably be 104, 106. And I know that's, thin. I'm almost pushing it at the, I think that would make my BMI 19. I think it's what I was. So I'm almost right there at being unhealthy, but, it's the battle. That's good, Shelby. Don't ever touch alcohol. Like I said, I rarely touch it. It's a special occasion, if that, and that's it. Yes, Tim, that's true. And I need to have one of those done too because colon cancer runs in my family. So, like, on my Asian side of the family, they told me to watch out for heart disease, which that's what my grandfather had, and blood pressure, and colon cancer. So I have to keep a close eye on it. And it's interesting because even though, which I think some of my medications contribute to it, and I don't take any blood pressure medication, but there's been times where my blood pressure has been really low. So like my family's over here worried, I made up with high blood pressure. I think I've only seen it high twice. And what I say high, I think it was like 135, 136. But it was understandable why it reached that high because, I was in a lot of pain, so that, it would show up in that. But most time, my blood pressure is actually normal. It's at a good range, or I've seen it even be like really low. I remember a few times when I've gone to the doctor over the past couple years, I've seen it, at like 87 over 74 or something like that. I mean, it was crazy. It's like, what? And my doctors know I drink Red Bull. I mean, they see me. I'll walk into my doctor's office having a can in my hand, so I'm not hiding it from them, so they're well aware. But most time my blood pressure's normal. It's pretty good. Hi, Larry. I'm sorry to hear that, honey. Yeah, my grandmother died of it, so I understand. Yeah, there's times that I'm glad it is low, but it's scary because when I am in pain, when I know it should be high, and it's like it's rare that I've seen it like high, that top number being as high as like 135 or something. But so, because like when I had my rotator cuff surgery done last year, um, when they called me because I had to have it done at the hospital, outpatient surgery. And when the nurse called me to, go over my health history and all that, she asked me, she's like, so you don't have high blood pressure? Nope. I said, in fact, there's been more times than none that it's been low, not high. And then she asked me, she's like, and you're not diabetic either? Nope. I got high cholesterol, but that's it. Besides, my back pain, that's the only, health issues I have. And because they were trying to set me up to come up to the hospital to have an EKG done and to draw some blood. And she's like, nope, you don't have to come up here and have that done now because, the biggest concern was diabetes and high blood pressure. She's like, because you don't have either, you don't have to come up here. And it's like, well, thank God for that. So that saved me a lot of time and money. Oh wow, Larry, that's crazy. Shelby, I've told my family, I said, I need a vacation. I said, y'all know I need the beach. And they want me to actually take a vacation. They were trying to get me to take a week off. And I said, well, I can't do it yet. When y'all can figure out how y'all can get my cars fixed and I can have finally save up some money, then I'll take a vacation. I'd love to see Italy though. But I'd have to get my passport renewed. But a handsome Italian guy to look after me too? Sure, why not? That'd be something. The Dystonia Project. What is that, Sage? Oh, okay. Yeah, my grandmother died of colon cancer. In fact, she's a grandmother who died on my 17th birthday. I was devastated. She's the one that my family says I look a lot alike. When she was young like me, they say I look just like her. Um, and then my aunt, um, same family, my dad's sister, she ended up also getting colon cancer. But thankfully hers went into remission. But and they had to cut out part of her colon. So she's supposed to be on a strict diet, but she's stubborn, set in her ways. She's like, no, I'm going to eat what I want. Okay. And she just ends up paying for it. So I can't be mad at her. Hey, that's all right, Sage. Oh, Shelby, well, you know what, honey? It's so sweet of you to think of me like that, girlfriend. I appreciate it. And I understand, honey. I don't know. Maybe, you know, my subscribers, when I get my memberships going, maybe that can help to go towards that then. So I can get my cars fixed, because I need to have them fixed. And finally get to the beach. All right. Hi, Shade. How you doing, beautiful? Strawberry fields. I like that, Shade. Like strawberry wine. I can hear that song. What's that other song from what it was like the 80s, wasn't it? And it was a male band. What was it? Was it Red Wine? In fact, I hear it in my head right now. That'd be so cool, though. Okay, beautiful people. Well, I know I probably mentioned it to y'all yesterday because I got I belong to a deck club, so I get a few new decks every few months that are pre-release. So it came the other day, yesterday I think it was. So I got a chance to actually shuffle a couple of decks and got them cleansed. And so I pulled a card from one of the decks for y'all for a quick oracle collective. Oh, okay, Sage. All right, I understand now, beautiful. Yeah, send them to me, honey, because, you know, there's no telling. Um, you never know. Maybe I have something like that and I'm unaware of it. I don't know, but yeah, I'd look into it. Hey, how you doing, Chief? It's good to see you, baby. Is that UB40? Okay. Yeah, I hear that song playing in my head right now. And it's funny because before I started the stream, I had Janet Jackson in my head. Um, and it's one of her older songs. And I believe it's from the 80s too, called Come Back to Me. So that's funny. All right, beautiful people. I like this card. This is from one of my new Oracle decks I just got in. That's part of my deck club. Look at that. It's called Unhookable. Well, I guess I need to get another thing to lean on so y'all can see this. Let me see. And I did get a few Oracle decks into today that I've been waiting on. Oh, Shade, I wish I could, girlfriend, but you know, I'd get in trouble for copyright. Okay, so here's the card, y'all. Isn't that a gorgeous card? It's called Unhookable. And it says, look at the progress you've made. You've arrived. Finally. Healing and change are here. We know we've come a long way when those things that once triggered us no longer do. That person, that place, the old story, that family dynamic. After what feels like way too long, all of a sudden, what used to knock you off course or send you into a spin no longer does so. Instead of spiraling and giving away your power, you find yourself standing steady, whole, and tall. The thing or person that once had power over you no longer does. That wounded part of you has finally healed. This is a celebration of how far you've come and how much work you've done. It honors the path you've taken and the journey you've been on. To be unhookable means that you've healed that which once threw you off course. To be unhookable means to stand in your own power. To be unhookable means that you draw your strength from within. To be unhookable means that your roots are deep and your interconnection is strong. So congratulations, you've come such a long way. Honor and acknowledge the progress you've made and celebrate the growth you've achieved. In a positive affirmation, it says, I honor my inner strength and authority. I draw my power from deep within. I honor my inner strength and authority. I draw my power from deep within. I love that. And I think this is a powerful card because if y'all watch the collective, there's a couple different general collectives I did recently where I know I pulled one that had to do with childhood traumas, and another one had to do with soul contracts. And it feels a lot of this to me, that y'all are healing. Y'all are working a lot on yourself. And there's even another one I recall. It was the shadow card. So that kind of applies to that too. So I love that card. So that's what Spirit I picked for y'all tonight. And then the angel card I pulled to go with it is Zachiel. And it says, be the change you seek. Your intentions to live with meaning and purpose have led you to where you are today. Where you are is where you are needed. But don't forget to be a light of healing wherever you go. The changes that you are seeking at this time must begin within you. Even if you are facing difficult circumstances, ask yourself how you can shine your light more wholly and fully. And the positive affirmation you can say to yourself is, thank you, Zachiel, for helping me change within myself first before seeking change elsewhere. Thank you, Zachiel, for helping me change within myself first before seeking change elsewhere. I love that. Be the change you seek. Amen. And that's what I got for y'all beautiful people. Those couple of cards. I got a new, I got a few in today. I got a self-care oracle deck, which I thought was pretty interesting. And I got another animal spirit deck. And I also got one that has, it's divine guidance from like your spirit guides and angels. And the fourth one is spirit symbols or something like that. I'm gonna have to pull it out again. So I got to shuffle those and cleanse them earlier today. Oh, well, I'm glad it resonates for y'all. I thought it was a powerful card. I initially thought of pulling from a different deck, but Spirit told me no, I was supposed to pull from this one. So, and I do love that. So, I need to get me one of those card holders that I can put where it stands it up. Like if I were to start doing a card pull of the day, or I can have it displayed out somewhere. Oh, you're so welcome, Sage. I'm glad it resonates, honey. Okay, Shelby. An oracle message would be like just me pulling, you know, from an oracle deck, pulling a card for you. A mini is pretty much, you know, what you would see in my in-depth readings. It's just, instead of doing like, I can do a past, present, and future instead of doing a 5-card spread. I just don't pull clarifiers with it, and then I'll just grab a few oracle cards to go with it. Hi, Angel Eyes. How you doing? So, let's see. Oh, this is my angel. Of course, they would have a card on here that has that, what do they call that you put on a Ouija board? That symbol right there. That, what do they call that? I can't think of the freaking word. It's on the tip of my tongue. That's interesting, though. I was at the bottom. You're thinking, okay, Shelby. I'm gravy, beautiful. Thank you for asking. So that's my divine, my spirit guide, divine guidance, angel deck. And the self-care. The self-care one was the one I really wanted, because I thought it'd be important for y'all's spiritual growth. And taking care of yourself, personal growth too, because it's important to have self-care. It's some kind of butterfly deck, but I can't. It has different cards. I mean, there's some animals in here. I wasn't expecting that, but... A planchetta. There you go. Yep. That's what I was talking about. Thank you, Shelby. No, that's not it. I need to put these in my wall. Or in my wall. On my door and my hangers over there. Yeah, I think this is spiritual symbols. Yeah. It looked interesting to me. Just like it has like the elements as an example, but it has other ones in here too. You're decompressing as well, Chief? Well, we all know how you decompress, baby. I'm sure you're feeling a lot better, too. I gotta stand up for a minute. Yeah, this is the self-care one. Like, if I were to pull a card from this, like the one that just stood out on the bottom says exercise. Love yourself enough to exercise and enjoy the glow of good health. This is from my self-care deck I just got. And I did pull out a new tarot deck too that I haven't used yet. Okay. I just gotta figure out where to put this now. Lemon o'clock. Yes, life can definitely be a test. I think it's always testing us. Testing our limits. Okay, Shelby. You want an oracle message, girlfriend? Okay. I just got your donation, honey. Thank you. Oh, Chief. I just got it, Shelby. Thank you, honey. Yeah, it's... Oh, baby, it's been hurting me more here lately. And I'm trying to figure out why. I don't know if it's because I've been sitting more, you know, because my body's not used to sitting a lot. But since, you know, I started the channel, I'm sitting more, a lot longer sitting up, especially. So, the other day, it was like it was a couple weeks ago when all I could do was stand because I couldn't sit. But even the other day, I was hurting so bad that even laying down hurt. So it was like the only thing I could do was take that one medication my doctor gave to me that makes me very drowsy, that he told me not to take until bedtime for that reason, which I rarely take it because it knocks me out. And I took it and went to sleep, and when I woke up, I felt a lot better. So, okay, Shelby. Let me go use the restroom real quick too, honey. And then you can let me know, like, if you got a question, Shelby, or you are going to trust me to pull from whatever oracle deck you want me to pull from, sweetheart. Be right back, y'all. Stretch my back out for a minute. That inflammation is built up in my sacrum. Alright. Shelby, my beautiful lady. Honey, what, do you got a question? Or do you want me just to pull from whatever deck that Spirit calls me to grab? Because I'll see if I can answer it using the Oracle deck. Yeah, I'm back. Oh, you got a love question. Should you reach out to Johnny? You daydream about him a lot, huh? Alright, Spirit. Let's see. Let me do this 2 ways for you, girlfriend. I got a yes and no deck, and then I can answer that question, but let's see. I wonder what his intentions are. No, actually, I have this one. This is my blood tarot. Let's see. You got me to pull out a couple of my love Oracle decks that I rarely get to use because I only use them for paid readings because they're the expensive ones. Alright. Well, let me use this one deck first. Answer your question with a simple yes, no, maybe. Johnny, be good. Yes, honey, you get the fancy ones. I only use the fancy ones for paid readings. Because, like I said, they're expensive. When I say they're expensive, they're about 80 bucks a piece. So, alright, Spirit. For Miss Shelby. Look at my doggone pants. What the heck? I don't know how the heck this happens. Or my zipper falls down. Excuse me. That must be the way I sit. Sorry. Alright. And you thought your decks were expensive? Honey. Yeah, I have some expensive decks over here. I mean, the most expensive one I have is $300, but I got a few tarot decks that were $200. But my Oracle deck, one of my Oracle decks was $300. So, but these, like the ones I just got in today, not the one that I did the collective, but like a couple of ones I was showing y'all, those are like the $80 decks. So, alright, Spirit, which a subscriber was generous enough to get me 5 of them. which I got those a week or two ago. So, and I have used them a few times in the collective, but those will definitely get used in like the memberships readings I do. So, alright, Spirit, show me. Alright, Spirit. Well, show me why. Yes, baby, they're expensive. I mean, it would blow y'all's mind how much I've spent on my decks, on the deck collection I have. It blows my mind. It's like, I don't even want to think about it, but I had to grab all my old decks that I used to have that I gave away, plus some of the newer ones that came out since. So the 2 decks that I'm using for Shelby's reading, these are the $80 decks. Which is the other reason why I can't do free readings anymore, because the more I use them, the more they're going to wear down, and, you know, it costs money to replace them. So, alright, Spirit, show me. Beautiful. Spirit's telling me no. Like, they're telling me that this would be the wrong time for you to reach out to him. I'm getting the energy. This would actually be the wrong time to try and connect romantically with anyone. Like, Spirit saying to me, instead of focusing on romantic love with someone else, you need to focus on the love for yourself. And part of that is your health. And, like, I can't make it up knowing we were talking about your health, girlfriend. Here's the card, health. And it says no, but it says health. You got to focus on you, girlfriend. That's what Spirit's saying. I feel like this would be the wrong time. I feel like if you do, it may not work out right now. Spirit showing me that, yes, this is, you know, someone like a friendship that you've had, that you've maintained over the years. But they're also showing me, if you were to try and make it go from a friendship into something romantic, you'd eventually be walking away from it. So it'd be like, it's a wasted shot right now. Now, does that mean that maybe down the road, you know, when you've, you know, worked on yourself more and gotten yourself, you know, healthier, that might be a better time? I mean, there's always that opportunity, beautiful. But as of right now, Spirit's saying no. And I know it's hard to hear that, girlfriend. Yeah. Beautiful. This is time to really focus on you. You know, it's like, Shelby, you hear me telling, you know, other people when I've done other love readings in the past about how, you know, because you're single, you know, what can you add to your life? Add to your own personal value. So that way, when you do find love, or you're ready to seek out love, or it finds you, you're that much more attractive. You have that much more to offer someone. You know, you've upped your game, so to speak. So Instead of just accepting yourself the way it is and being complacent, you're forcing yourself to come out of your comfort zone and try other things to better yourself overall. But most importantly, it's about bettering you for yourself, which is all about self-love. Because at the end of the day, you can't go pouring into other people's cups when your cup is going empty or it's already bare bone dry. Um, so that would not be fair to try and pour into someone else when you really have nothing to pour, and vice versa. Um, but it's also just the energy of you teach others how to love you, how to treat you. So if you're not really taking care of yourself, focusing on your health, and now you're trying to go back to school, which I beautiful, kudos to you. I mean, I'm very proud of you for, focusing on your health to make you healthier for the long term, but also looking at your education to better yourself. And that's a lot more that you can offer a partner, when you get, your degree and you're healthier, to where you can enjoy life, to where you won't feel so run down or fatigued or out of breath or unable to do certain things because your health isn't the best because you haven't been taking care of your body and also your mind. And that combined, does affect your spirit, but even, if you find yourself, being mentally and emotionally, down on yourself or depressed, that does affect your physical well-being overall. So you need them all to be in alignment. So I feel like once you get all that in alignment, then that's when spirit will open the door to romantic love for you. So I feel like you just got to be a little patient. Give all that time and attention to yourself first. Yeah, I know, honey. You never know, Shelby. You know, but opposites do attract too, beautiful. When you think of the peace sign, you think of yin and yang, right? So you could be, his yin, you know, to his yang. You could be the yin to his yang. You know what I mean? So that's what I would do, girlfriend. I would get my education and I would focus on my overall health. Because when you're happy and you're more fulfilled, you got a lot more to bring to the table too. you know Instead of looking for like love, validation, acceptance in a romantic partner, it's still something you gotta find in yourself first. And I think when you truly have that, when you can truly be happy with who you are, how you look, how you feel, all the things you got going good in your life, you're not gonna be easily stepping into a trap of settling for less than you deserve. So you'll raise that bar for yourself. And, when you raise that bar for yourself, um, there's more for there to be given to someone else. And, that way you also raise that bar for the person you're hoping to have in your life too and share your life with. And you're so welcome, Shelby. I hope that helps, honey. Gives you the clarity you need. Shelby, I think we all are to some degree. You know, it's like me. My standards and my expectations are high. And, Shelby, I really wonder if I'm ever going to find that person because I understand how high my expectations and standards are. And can I find someone who's going to meet, my expectations? Because I know I'm not going to settle. Um, And it's not to say that, there isn't anyone out there good enough. There's just certain things that I need, that I know I need. It's not a matter of want, it's a matter of need. Like my own, physical security by itself. I need that. I need that, foundation in order to feel safe, in order to feel whole, in order to feel happy and fulfilled, in order to be able to open myself, to having a relationship with someone and so forth. So I'm not going to settle for anything less. And knowing that about me, that really takes a lot of people out of the equation. Um, to where a lot of people probably describe me, oh, you're high maintenance. No, it's not about being high maintenance. Um, when you've been like someone like me, who's been a homeowner since I was 21 years old, that's something I expect to still have, you know, um, and not only have my own home, but also be able to build that with someone else. So it's not just having one house. I'm looking to have multiple homes. I'm looking to have a home here in Georgia, one in California because most of my family's there. And then um a perfect world, I would love to have a condo in Hawaii too. But I want at least the option to whether I could be here in Georgia where my brother is and my nieces and nephews are, or be in California with my other siblings, my aunts and uncles and cousins, and then, friends that I've known since grade school. Oh, really? He's from Hawaii. Is he Hawaiian? Or, because that's pretty wild, honey. Chief, I mean, I understand that, baby, but you know what? When you've already had what I've had, it's hard to go backwards, if that makes any sense. So, that's the whole problem that I have with it. I've already had a life that, no, not rich, but not poor either. So, and it's like my daddy always said, love don't pay the bills. So you need more than love in order for a relationship to last. Um, but I get what you're saying too. Oh, really, Shelby? Now that's crazy. I would love that. He sounds wild. He sounds like an adrenaline junkie like me. Now that's pretty cool. Well, girlfriend, keep your eye on him. You never know. Like I said, opposites attract. Give yourself some time, work on you, and then see what happens, honey. So what I'm saying definitely makes sense, Chief. Well, I'm glad it does, baby. It's hard to go backwards once you've had a life a certain way. I don't know how else to explain that, but it's also true. And I know my daddy would not have given me his blessing if I didn't have the kind of life that I was given, when I had gotten married years ago. So, and it's just like my brother said, and he told me, both him and my daddy's best friend told me, you know, a real man who loves a woman will never ever allow her and sit back and watch her struggle and suffer and go without when there's something he can do to change it. So, and that's coming from my brother who did not used to think that way. So he's grown a lot. He's matured a lot, but a lot has changed because he obviously is married now with kids. So, but he's reminded me of that a few times over the past year. Um, yeah, beautiful, but you know what? Have you ever heard of a Christian witch? As crazy as that sounds, they do exist, or some will classify themselves as a Christian witch. Is Eternal still here? Like, Eternal can tell you. There's someone he knows who classifies himself that way. And, you know, beautiful, take me into consideration too. Like, I'm not a witch, you know, I don't practice, you know, spell casting or anything like that. But on the other hand, even though I'm a Christian, you know, as you well know, but I'm that open-minded Christian to where, you know, me, you know, reading cards to me is not going against God, you know, because God's the one that blessed me with my abilities, not the other way around, not how most people, especially in Christianity and other religions, look at it, you know, as being evil, as devil worshiping and such. No, you know, there's the light, which is what I step and stay in, and then there's the darkness, you see. So you never know. He might be an open-minded Christian like me. You never know, beautiful. And, you know, you're never going to know until, you know, you have that conversation with him just to get, you know, his thoughts about it. Because there are other people that, over the years, that I've dated, um, who would classify themselves as either Christian. I've even dated guys who were Jewish, and they knew about my abilities. You know, I mentioned to them, you know, some of my experiences, and then I share with them the story, you know, what happened with me and my grandmother when I was 14 years old or 15. And they didn't have a problem with it. So, beautiful, I think you're making the assumption because y'all's beliefs are two different, you know, things and on the opposite, you know, side of the spectrum that he wouldn't be open to it. You just never know, beautiful. You know, Hawaiian people, and I'm only speaking from like my family, you know, because, you know, I'm part Hawaiian. But it's not just my family. I hear a lot in between the Hawaiians and even, I think Asian culture overall. They are very spiritual. They're very open-minded. In fact, many people would mistake, um, most Asians as being like Buddhist. You know, if you're talking about the Southern Asian or Eastern Asia like me, you know, whether it's Japan, you know, the Philippines, China, Thai, um, or the ones that are from like India, you know, that's more of like the Hindu, but they're very spiritual. So he lives in a state that's very spiritual. I mean, I hear a lot of beautiful things about Hawaii. It's very magical in a very spiritual way. Like when you think of like the goddesses and the gods of Hawaii, like one of my goddesses, which is Pele, she's a Hawaiian goddess. So he would understand that. So you see, there has to be an open mind somewhere, a crack in there, where he's either grown up around it or he, you know, he's aware of it. You know, he may not practice it himself, but he's aware and he's not closed off to it either. So you just never know, beautiful. I love that, Shelly. Yeah, do that. Tell him. He's, you know, even though you know he's a Christian, he casts a spell on you. So you just never know. Hi, Michael Gaylord. Do you, Tim? That's very cool. Did you know I'm a descendant of the famous female samurai, Takeko Nakano? She is a great ancestor of mine. And hula dancers. Yep, Chief, that's right, baby. So don't be closed off to that possibility, beautiful. Okay? I'm not saying, you know, get lost in the fantasy world and thinking, oh, you know, because of these things, He should be open-minded and just assume. Just start the conversation with him, sweetheart. Find out, and just say to him that, you understand Christianity believes one way as he's going to school and getting, a degree in that. Um, but you also know that Hawaii is very spiritual, and it goes beyond like religion. And see what he says. You know, do you just come out and tell him I'm a witch? Girlfriend, that's up to you. I don't know if I would drop it on him like that, but um, you know how I would open up to people that I wasn't sure when I was still kind of like trying to figure out how to handle my abilities, and knowing that most people would look at me crazy and say I need to go check myself into a mental hospital. Um, I would start the conversation like this, or it would somehow come about. Hold on, let me take a sip of this. I would ask people what their beliefs are. So I would usually start a conversation of like, um, well, do you believe in ghosts? Like, have you ever experienced any paranormal activity? I would start it from there. Okay, because most people, when you think of Halloween and horror movies, haunted houses and such, and find out. And that's the conversation that will open the subject more to where, depending on what they say, which this is how I would handle it. I would get most times people say, yeah, I believe in ghosts, but then there would be the few who were deeply religious who would say, well, no, those are, demons, or those are, oh, what's the other word? Familiar spirits. Um, And it's like, okay, I get that. So you think all the ghosts that are moving around us, you think they're all demons? I would make sure I get that clarity. And if they would tell me yes, then I would kind of decide from there. Do I even ask them if they believe in psychics? So there was only a couple I'd ever ask, who felt that way about ghosts. And they would pretty much say the same thing, like, no, that's like practicing witchcraft, or that's like, devil worshiping type beliefs. But then there were others who either didn't believe in it, or they would say, yeah, I'm Christian, but I've had some, wild experiences myself. So, and then that's when the conversation would start, and they would share some of their experiences with me, and then I would share some of mine with them. So it'll surprise you, because in fact, right now, Shelby, my I have a sister and brother-in-law, deeply religious. Understand me, they used to not be this way. Um, they became deeply religious in the past decade, but I think it's been a little bit longer than that. And before they join a church, Christianity, um, they would throw Halloween parties and watch horror movies, and even they went and saw psychics. So they used to be in that world. So when I came about, it wasn't hard to be opening and welcoming to me. But it's like, now, that they've, suddenly converted and are, deeply religious, to where like they go to church like 3 days a week and they're very involved in the church. I've asked them that question. It's like, so now that y'all are deeply religious, like, how do you take me? Because that Bible tells you that I'm evil, that I'm this, and I'm that. But what do you believe? And I listen to them, and they've honestly told me, they're like, um, they're very conflicted with it, to the point that they're not going to sit here and say that, yeah, they believe in it, but they believe like what the Bible says. But knowing that that same Bible would tell them someone like me is evil, they know that's not true either, because they know I'm not evil. So that's where they get very conflicted. But could they ever go to their church and talk to their fellow congregation about me or about some of the experiences they used to have or what they used to do? They told me flat out no. They would never do that. They would never ever be comfortable enough to do that because they would know that already they'd pull that Bible out. It's like, no, you need to read this, this, and this, and do a blessing on your house and so forth, right? So you see, you can't just judge it in that context just because he's Christian, You never know, beautiful. You don't know what he believed or experienced before that. He could be someone like my in-laws. As an example, I mean, even my brother, he just got baptized this year with his wife. And when we were kids, him and I both went to church. Um, our parents didn't go with us because they stayed away from church. It's not that they didn't believe because they would tell you that they were Christian, or my mama would say she was Mormon, but she wasn't trying to take us into church either. But they weren't going to keep us from going to church on our own if that's what we want to do. So there would be a Sunday school van that would come around, pick me and my brother up, and take us to church. So we went to church, for some years. And did we stick with it though? No, because life got crazy when my mom got diagnosed, so she became sick. So we couldn't go anymore, and we had moved away from where the church was, where we were getting picked up by the van before. So my brother stayed away from church since then. And over the years, he always looked at, church like, okay, he believes in God and Jesus and this and that, but was he going around trying to shove the Bible in anyone's faces? No. And now that he's married and he has kids of his own, he wants to raise his kids in a Christian household and going to church and that kind of thing. And I applaud my brother for it. I said, I have no problem with it. I think that's a good thing, but I did tell him my concerns. I said, my only concerns is I just hope it doesn't turn you against me, and look at me the way that I know the Bible is going to tell you if you really study it and believe it word for word, verbatim, you know. And so we got into the conversation because he knows I read tarot cards and he also knows that I have psychic abilities. And so he's like, well, I don't know enough about it. I would need to know where in the Bible it says that this is wrong and so forth. And it's like, and I tell him, it's like, I can't remember. I'd have to look it up, but I'm sure you can ask your pastor and they would know exactly where those verses are. I said, just, promise me you won't allow this to come between you and I because we're very close and we're all, each other has really, especially out here in Georgia. So, I said, just keep an open mind. That's all I ask. Don't judge me. He's like, no. That's the problem that I've always had with church is they always judge everybody. And, to me, that's wrong. Okay. As long as you understand that. So, after he got baptized, we got into a conversation about it again. And I mentioned, he knows what I do. And I said, so if you ever talk to your pastor about me, because we just had that family funeral back in January and the pastor was there. So they got to, meet me officially for the first time. And he said, no, not yet. But then I think in the following week, he did bring me up and they got into a conversation about tarot cards. And the pastor he spoke to was the youth pastor. He said that he knows what I do. He has an understanding. And he said, in fact, his mother used to read tarot cards herself before she found Christianity. And he's like, but yeah, it's against the Bible. He's like, unless something's changed in the past, couple of decades, it's a sin. You're not supposed to be practicing it. It's divination and so forth. And I told my brother, I said, see, that's the problem that I have with it. And I'm not evil. I said, but that Bible's going to tell you that I am. But I'm your sister. And you know I'm not. You know, and he agreed. He's like, no, you're not. I said, but I'm telling you, that's what you're going to get told, okay? So, after he said he had that conversation, he told me, he's like, I still don't see anything wrong with what you do because you're able to reach people and you're able to help people in a whole different way that maybe, church will not. And he's like, so, and I, what you're doing is like, I don't see, it's not harming anyone. So, you see, you got another open-minded person. Well, Shelby, Hawaii would be a good place to go to for that. It's very spiritual. Um, but there's even places in California that are that way. I'd have to look it up, sweetheart. Um, but even like in Asia, a lot of the like the temples, like the Buddhist temples, even the Hindu temples, is very spiritual. It's not just based on Christianity, it's a different religion, but they're more open-minded, they're more spiritual. So, yeah. Wow, Chief, that was the year I was born, baby. Why were you excommunicated, baby? Right. Oh, I agree, Shelby. Yes, my mother was Mormon. I mean, she wasn't a practicing Mormon, though. But if you were to ask her if she was alive right now, she would tell you she's Mormon. If you were to ask what her religion is. Ace of Cups. That's a good card to get. Ace of Cups is for if there's an opportunity of love, like someone has a crush on you. But it's also an opportunity for you to open up like a creative endeavor if you want to read it from like the guidebooks standpoint. You've had experience with paranormal activity? Yeah, Tim, I experience it often, baby. It's on a daily, because I see spirit orbs every day, too. And yeah, Chief, don't they always want money? That's the problem with churches. I have a problem with it because, like you said, Chief, they always want money. And then it's like they want to judge you and tell you. In fact, I watched a movie on one of my days off that my brother told me to watch called The Shack. And that's a very powerful movie. It did move me. But I have a problem because of them expecting money for it. Um, but the other problem I have with it is like it's like I remember my mama saying this is her problem she had with church is she would always get told if you don't go to church you're going straight to hell. That's what she always got told. And it's like and my mama would say this. Like the other thing that would come up is about the dress code. Like, how you're supposed to wear your Sunday, best to go to church in. And my mama told one of the pastors that came to the house to talk to us, she told him flat out, God don't care what I wear. God only cares that I show up. And, my thought of it over there has always been too. I don't need to go to church to believe in God or Jesus. I don't need to go to church to pray or worship or read the Bible or believe in it. I said because God's just not in a building that says church. He's everywhere. He's all around you. But most importantly, he's within you, in your heart. And that's all you need to know. So I don't need someone in a building that says church and pay him part of my wages in order to be told that. You know, right is right and wrong is wrong. We all know right from wrong. And, you know, to me, the biggest principles, if you want to talk about Jesus Christ, you know, like it's pretty much him teaching like you're supposed to love everyone unconditionally, including your enemy. You're supposed to love them and also forgive them and still invite them into your home, even offer them a seat at your table, right? That's what Jesus pretty much a lot of it was, and it was about not judging. You're supposed to accept and love everyone for who and what they are, and the religion shouldn't matter. Why? Because they're still human beings, and why? Because we're all God's children. So, you know, I've always believed that. In the Ten Commandments, that's what I stick by. But people take it out of context like that. And it's like the ones who come in here who I always feel are hypocrites. Who always, you know, as you well know, Shelby and Chief, you've seen it. Tim, I'm sure you've seen it too. Eternal has seen it. Where they come in here and talk about, yeah, you need to stop, you know, touching those cards and go and repent and, you know, to save your soul and this and that. It's like, really? I said, well, aren't you the biggest hypocrite coming here and judging me? I said, because obviously you forgot that one part in the Bible that says, thou shalt not judge. But here you are judging me. Yeah, hypocrite. And I don't like people like that. So I throw them out. Hey, 420. How you doing, baby? Hi, Michelle. Alwyn, hello. So I do. I'm a Christian woman, but I'm open-minded. I don't just believe in Christianity. Because my mother was Mormon, and my dad's father was Buddhist, and my dad's mother was Baptist. So you had Baptist and Buddhist in one marriage, okay? They were able to get along and love each other. They didn't allow religion to stop them from being happily married for over 50 years and having 7 kids together. And then you take account my mama, Mormon, my biological father that had a mix of both the Buddhist and Baptist, they got married, even though their marriage didn't last, but they were happy for many years, and they had 3 kids together. So they didn't allow religion to stop them from being together. And then when my mama divorced my dad and got remarried to my stepfather, he was Baptist. So now we have Mormon and Baptist again. Fell in love, got married, and they stayed married until death separated them. So, you know, I think, you know, religion can put up way too many barriers between us. It divides us is what I think it does. Um, Plus that I have family and friends who are Catholic, who are Pentecostal, um, Hindu, um, Jewish, and then, you know, my family being Buddhist, Mormon, Methodist, and Baptist. Like, I have no room to talk. I have no room to shun any religion. And even my grandmother would have said that once upon a time she had thought she was a white witch. I do recall her saying that to me once. So did she practice it? No, I don't think so. But there you have it. So who am I? I have no place to judge anyone. And so that movie, The Shack, is all about that. It's like you know, it's the whole lesson um in the movie to me was you have no right to judge anyone, and you know it's not your place, you know. And yeah, evil things happen, you know, but it's about, you know, it's not that God allows or, you know, plans these evil acts or evil people or, you know, evil things to happen. But what he can do is change, you know, what comes of it and create a miracle out of it, which I do agree. I've always believed that. So you can't see Teddy. Yeah, Jerome. So those are my beliefs, though. That's why I'm accepting of everyone. You know, as long as your religion or your beliefs don't cause harm, you know, to people and animals, I have no problem with it. Yep, he's playing peekaboo. So I think that's how everybody should be. And you know, it interests me in the context of like my family, like my in-laws or like my brother. You know, knowing that they're you know being taught one way, but because I'm family and they know me, you know, it's not like they just randomly met me recently. They've known me for years. They know I'm not an evil person, you know, despite what the Bible says. So what does that say about that Bible? And that was, you know, like what I told my brother. I said, the Bible tells you I'm supposed to be evil, right? I'm supposed to be taken over by, you know, demons, familiar spirits, and this and that. I said, do you honestly believe that about your own sister? I know you can't look me in the eye and say, you know, you believe that. And he knew he couldn't, you know, but I said, but you see, the Bible says that though. So how right is it when you take that into question? Knowing me, you know, and my in-laws, knowing me and believing the same way, knowing I'm not evil. So they're very conflicted. You know, I just love everybody and accept everyone for the way they are, even when they do things that I may not like or agree with. You know, I still love everybody. I'll tell you when I disagree. You know, but me disagreeing doesn't, you know, I I try not to judge harshly. I know I have my moments that I can, but I do my best not to. But I feel like when I've done it, it's not with evil intent, obviously. But I'm more than anything, I try and empathize with everyone and put myself in y'all's shoes to truly understand it. So, and sometimes it takes a minute for me to do that though, but I do it. I try and really place myself in your shoes and think about it. It's like, what would I do? It's like, really? You know, would I do anything differently here? Probably not, you know, and so forth. So, exactly. We're all human beings. None of us are perfect. That's exactly it, too. But so many in the Christian, you know, religion try and act like they are. That's why they're such hypocrites. And it annoys me when they come in here and judge me and judge y'all. So I just kick them out. Oh, let me put these decks back. And I let them know, you know, you have no right coming in here and throwing stones. Because it's not like you're perfect. And you didn't, nobody died and made you God today either. That's the other thing I'll tell them, so. Alright, beautiful people. If anybody wants a paid reading, y'all just let me know. I'll hang out for a little bit, but if I don't get any more paid readings, I'll end it early. What time is it? It's midnight. Okay. I need to find something to munch on. Exactly, Chief. That's exactly how I feel about it, too. It would be very boring to live in this world if we were all the same. Look the same and believed exactly the same. Alright, I need to grab me some cheese. I'll be right back. Yep, I got chips, beef jerky, and cheese. My typical, what I munch on at night when I'm on here. Oh, did Judith come in? Hi, Judith. How you doing, beautiful? You know who keeps asking about you, sweetheart? Because they've been worried about you. I don't know if you remember one of my subscribers who I made a mod. He hasn't been around in a while, except for he's popped up a couple times in the past few weeks. Russell Daniels. He's asked about you, beautiful. Hello, Miguel. $12.09. Okay. I'm good, Miguel. Thank you for asking. How you doing? The name sounds familiar, but you're not sure who he is. Yeah, he said he was going to come back tonight, too, but he hasn't popped in yet. So, because in fact, he showed up last night, like, I think it was about less than an hour after you left. So, I know he missed you. Pineapple's good. I know y'all got some of the craziest weather up there, Judith. But I guess depends on what side of Canada you're on, too. Where it's like it's Arctic Canada, like as I like to call it. And I'm sure you look just like an Eskimo too, Chief, don't you? My body would not be able to handle y'all's cold weather. It would be so mad at me. I agree with you, 420. Chief's secret wizard. He's just not letting anybody know. You know, Chief, I've never told you this before, baby, but your energy has always read to me like you're an old medicine man. Yeah, baby, your energy reads to me like you're an old medicine man from a Native American tribe. That's what I pick up in your energy. And I don't mean it literally, even though I know you're older, but you get what I'm saying. You have a lot of wisdom and experience as a medicine man. You think so, Judith? Yeah, take it as a compliment, Chief. That's how I mean it, baby. Hey, country girl. I'm gravy, beautiful. Thank you for asking. How you doing? How's everything going with you? He was a buffalo chief. I believe that too, about 420. Oh, wow. Well, beautiful. I'm sorry to hear he got arrested, but he needed to be arrested for putting his hands on you. So, I hate to hear that that's happened, though. Just don't allow him coming back in and trying to talk you out of dropping the charges, sweetheart, or not testifying against him. Because I know he'll try, but he needs to be held accountable. No, country girl, I'm always praying for you, honey. I pray for you and everyone else. I pray for y'all every night. You know, Chief, in one of my decks, I have the white buffalo in there. I think it's in one of my goddess decks, in fact. Let me see. But I think I saw it in another deck I have. Another oracle deck. And it made me think of you. So let me see. Watch, I won't find it now. of these. Which one though? I did have that one Native American deck I read for you with, but I had another one. Yeah, of course. I rearranged my Oracle decks, and now I can't find half of them. It's like, what did I do with that one? Oh, let me try this first. I didn't see the other deck that I was talking about, but I believe it's in one of these. Yeah, Tim, you should watch it, baby. Tim, you can watch it on YouTube. Just type it in the search bar. Country girl, it's gonna be alright, beautiful. I know it may not seem that way right now, but it will be. And Judith's right. It may not be easy, but it'll be worth it for you and your baby girl to be safe. No matter how the charges got brought on him, he still deserves it. So he's reaping what he sowed. Country girl, you just gotta believe you deserve better, beautiful, and not settle for his BS anymore. I get he's your husband, but just because he's your husband on paper doesn't give him an excuse or justification to put his hands on you. So, because if I had been there, yeah, you wouldn't have wanted me there, because I would have had my pistol with me. Never cut my hair, huh? Yeah, it's not the first time I've heard that. It won't be the last either. We'll see. Hello, Benny. You love long-haired women too, Chief? Don't most of y'all love long hair? I've always heard that. And country girl, yes, honey. It's good that you fought back. You needed to fight back, because you weren't just fighting for yourself. You were fighting for your child too. Let me see if I can find it in here. I pulled it out of one of these decks. I came across it, so I know I have it somewhere. Well, I'm glad the cops understand that you're defending yourself. Hey, Scorpio Mama. It's been a while. How you doing, honey? Hello, Josh Bills. Y'all love the long hair. Yeah, I like my long hair, too. It gets on my nerves sometimes, though. And when it's scorching hot in the summer like it is right now, I'm always tempted to chop it off. But even if I were to chop it off, it will grow back because it grows fast. Yes, it does. I don't know. I haven't seen him tonight for 20. I was kind of wondering the same thing. So how you doing, Scorpio Mama? It's been a while, girlfriend. How's you and the wifey doing? Are y'all still here in Georgia? I love that, Judith. That's how you feel about your beard, Tim? Okay. Oh, wow, Shelby. Well, girlfriend, maybe you'll go to sleep tonight and have another dream of him. Ask your spirit guides to help you remember what you said to him and what he said to you. Another blind date, Chief? You think so? Yeah, I don't know. He got the ladies chasing after him. I do know that. But he's not interested. He already made that clear. He's not interested in having any woman in his life. As he said, he's happy. You have a really burly beard, huh? Okay. That sounds like a beautiful dream, Shelby. Yeah, beards are nice on some guys as long as they're kept well. As long as they're well maintained, trimmed. For some guys, they do look good with a beard or a goatee, even a mustache. Just depends. That's good to hear, Tim. You like clean shaven, Judith? Yeah, I understand too, beautiful. I used to be strictly that way. Over the years, I've changed where I don't mind facial hair as long as it's well maintained. You're very OCD on appearance. What does that mean, Tim? Oh, you're welcome, Shelby. Anytime, sweetheart. Sweet dreams to you. Again, ask your spirit guides to help you remember the dream and what happened and what was said. So maybe you'll dream of him tonight. Have a beautiful day tomorrow, honey. See you tomorrow. You shave every morning, Chief? Are you clean shaven, Chief? Or do you have a mustache? You have a mustache, okay. Sweet dreams, Shelby. See you next time, honey. So 420, you say you're clean shaven, baby? You don't have any facial hair? Or you have a mustache? Oh my goodness, Judith. You're a mess, honey. No facial hair? Okay. Well, Tim, I mean, I guess that's good, baby. For a man, I guess you would be considered vain, but I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing, you know, as long as it's only yourself you're doing it on. Judith, you're too much, honey. Oh, wow. You know, Judith, I've seen a couple Oracle decks recently, and you're going to be one of the reasons why I get them, girlfriend. That's all I'm going to say about it. Oops. Oh, that song from last night I have mentioned, it's playing in my head again right now. And I don't know why. I did look up who sings it, though. It's by Peter Cetera. And I can't remember what the woman's name is. Why not 420? Spill the beans, baby. What's the funny story, baby? I want to hear. Exactly. Don't be shy, baby. Oh, come on, 420. We're family. No, it's not Amy Grant, Judith. I know what song you're talking about, but that's not the song I'm talking about. Song I'm talking about, it's called I Want to Take Forever Tonight. And it's by Peter Cetera, and it's a duet with a female singer, but it's not Amy Grant. It's someone else. But that's a beautiful song too, Judith. I do love that song. I actually heard it not that long ago. Well, I can't believe that card's not in here, because I would have sworn it was this deck it was in. No, it's just a buffalo. Must be in the goddess deck. I'm thinking of like the goddess itself. Possibly. I have buffalo, but I don't see a white buffalo. But I saw it in another deck. Which one was it? No, it's not in here. Doggone it. And it made me think of you, Chief. Correct, 420. Yeah, Chicago is a good band. Is it Crystal Bernard? Maybe. But yeah, that's a song that's been playing in my head. It was playing in my head last night before I started the stream. And then it popped back in while I was streaming, and now it's there again. For some reason. Like, I feel like I'm going blind if I don't find this one deck. I knew I should put it to the side. Why am I not seeing it? No, it's not it. Here's this one. I don't think it's this one, but I did see it in another deck. Okay. Original lead singer died from drinking? Really, 420? I didn't know that. Oh, okay, Chief. Well, thank you for stopping in, baby, and hanging out for a little while. It's good to see you. Have sweet dreams, baby. And have a good day at work tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow night. I'm going to go here soon myself. If I don't get any paid readings, I'm going to shut it down in about 20 minutes. Of course, baby. Thank you for sharing your time with me too, baby. I'll look for that card later, but it's not in here. Or, oh, it's one of these. Yeah, Ozzy's cool. I actually met him. Okay, 420. Well, thank you for hanging out for a little bit, baby. Sweet dreams to you. See you tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Yep, I met him at Ozfest 99. It's a quiet night. Dave, maybe Spirit's really telling me I need to take a week off. Maybe y'all will actually miss me then. Yes, Chief, I'll be here Friday night, baby. You gonna come back and see me? Sounds good, baby. Thank you. You too. Good night, Chief. Don't forget about Jenny, Chief. Still gotta get her number, baby. Is that what it is, Judith? A 20-year-old in you? Yeah, I guess that must be my problem, too. Is it a black moon in 2 days? Wow. This month's gone by fast, actually. I just realized that we're in the middle of the month, towards the end. Also, I should be able to enjoy the full moon on my day off then. Sweet. Hello, Johns. How you doing? All right, baby. Sounds good, Chief. You too. All right. We'll make it a good lunch, baby. Put this up here. So pretty much, I shouldn't leave my house in a couple of nights, is what you're telling me, because all the crazies are going to be let loose. Which means there's going to be more accidents than I'm going to want to keep up with and be worried about. All them drunks on the road out there acting a fool. Aw. Well, thank you, Jonas, for the super chat, baby. Thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate you. Oh my gosh, Judith. I mean, you know. We can all use some, you know. But, yeah, I'll stay celibate. Thank you very much. That's a cute sticker. I like the little automated stickers. They're really cute. So how you doing, John? No worries, Judith. I know you can be cheeky at times. That's one of the things I love about you, girlfriend. It makes me think of my parents at times, to be honest, because they were that way. They would say more stuff than you have, Judith. Oh my gosh. My parents were not shy, we'll just say that. Celibacy is boring. I mean, you know what, John? You gotta have someone to do that with first. And second, you know, that's one of those things, as I was raised, that only happens between two people who love each other. So, that's how I was raised. Not one of those women that goes around sleeping around with just anybody. It's someone I have to be in a serious, committed relationship with. And they have to mutually have the same strong feelings for me that I have for them. So, you call it boring. I actually call it being smart. Being wise. I call it being in charge of, you know, not just my body, but even my heart. Because, see, there's too many diseases out there. Are you crazy? No, no, no. It's not worth it. It's not worth going around and rolling around in bed with somebody just for a few minutes of pleasure, and you're not even guaranteed that pleasure. It's like, no. Plus, you have to have an emotional connection. So, but I'm glad you're doing good, honey. Hey, you know what, Judith? When I start my memberships, girlfriend, and you come over there, that's when we can get a little more wild and talk a little more crazy. And just maybe, I'll pull out one of those decks that I haven't been able to use because we got to keep it PG out here, so. Yes, Tim. You have to have an emotional connection to someone to share that with them. And then this is, I'm not judging anybody, just understand me. I'm the type of woman, and I've always been this way. Like the way my parents raised me. If a man really loves me, he'll never try and get in my pants. That was the first thing I've been taught since I was a little girl. And they also told me if they did try and I wasn't ready, they would back off and respect me and wait until I was ready and not go look for it elsewhere. Okay? That was the first thing they told me. Second thing they also told me is there's no greater way to show or express your love to someone than that way. So make sure that it's with someone that's worth it, that you truly feel a deep love connection to, and they mutually feel the same way. So it wasn't meant just to have pleasure and fun with. It's more than that. So I have to have an emotional connection with someone in order for that to happen. Otherwise, you can forget about it. But some people don't understand that, and they say it's boring. No, I don't. Because it means I got standards. It means I respect myself. And that might not be something most people are used to today, especially out here in the internet world. But I do respect myself, so. It's just like some of these, like I mentioned last night, some of these, online influencers that are out here just shaking their butt for everybody. It's like, what? No. I would never do such a thing. I can't. So, and so now there's even guys out there that I've heard over the past couple of nights who've said that they're getting a little tired of seeing all these, half-naked women out here, you know, sharing, with the world what their mama gave them and such. No, that won't be me. Judith, that's true too, beautiful. And I'm glad you respect that, Tim. I wish more guys respected that and understood the difference, but, I guess the younger ones don't have the experience yet to understand it the way that I do and the way I was brought up. But just like Judith said, too, it's all, depending on how they were brought up. And I don't know. I still try to understand most of the younger generation today. It's like they're missing their father figure in their life, it seems. And it's really sad because it's not to justify or excuse their behavior. However, to a small degree, you can understand if they're going to act like a disrespectful fool, and be immature and childish in that way. So they didn't have the strong masculine energy in their life, aka father figure, that the rest of us were lucky enough to have. So, but then in the same breath, I also fail to understand it because you also have a mother, though. So, it's like how I said it last night. You would never be okay with a man walking up to your mama talking a certain kind of way, nor your sisters, your female friends, oh, and especially your daughters. But it's okay for you to talk that way to someone else's child. Make that make sense. That doesn't make sense. Especially some random person you don't even know. I'm not talking about the ones that have a deep relationship already, that's already existed, okay? Them, talking and playing around, if that's what they want to do, that's between them. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about strangers that have never met or who only speaking to each other, first time that you're just getting to know, that it hasn't reached that level of depth yet. Over here talking like, almost like it's turning into like sexting. It's like, what? No. But most guys wouldn't be okay with a man talking to their female loved ones that way. But they think it's okay for them to go and talk to someone else's child that way. No. That doesn't make any sense. So, yeah, we did speak about it the other night. Because it blows my mind how some guys act that way. And I even say that to them. It's like, did your mama teach you to speak that way to a woman? No, you don't talk that way to me. Um, it's like you will get the guys out here, and Judith knows what I'm talking about because it happens. It's happened almost every night, but here lately, it hasn't happened nearly as often, which I'm not complaining. Guys will come in here and say some of the most disgusting crap you can think of. It's like, who on God's green earth are you? You know, what makes you think it's okay to talk to a woman that way? But then I sat there and I have to take a step back from it. It's like, and I think about this guy that we were talking about last night who was talking about that he's getting sick and tired of going online. And every single time he opens up one of the social media apps, he sees a video of a woman shaking her butt, you know, and pretty much half naked. And then you can almost kind of understand why, because they're used to seeing this day in and day out. So they're desensitized to it. So because there's other women out here acting a fool that way, they think the rest of us are. Well, don't you know, confuse me with these other women, because I'm not doing nothing like that. But that's how a lot of them seem to think, though, or feel. So it's always interesting to me, though. And I mean, it's like my daddy. Um, I was his baby, and I'm not just talking about my birth father. I'm talking about my stepdad too. You could not come to my house and come knocking on the door asking for me unless you had some flowers in your hand to give me. Oh, and you better not take me to no cheap restaurant either. What I mean by cheap, I mean fast food. So you better be taking me to a sit-down restaurant, or you weren't going anywhere with me. My daddy would not allow you to leave with me, and he would tell you to get the hell off his property. You're not taking his baby anywhere. So, knowing I've had two strong male figures in my life who brought me up that way, and the fact that my daddy, in fact, was the first man who bought me my first diamonds when I was 10 years old. So understand, I had two men really teach me how I'm supposed to be treated. And I watched the way they treated my mama too. So, there you have it. Oh, I agree, Judith. And that's why I said, you know, at first when I think of it, I stop and think, it's like, well, maybe you don't have a strong male figure. But then I have to take another step back. It's like, but wait a minute, you still have a mama. And that's why I said that. And that's why I said, okay, knowing they normally do have a mama, and I would think they would love their mama unless they got mama issues, they would never want a man. They would never be okay with a strange man talking to the mama that way. Their sisters, their aunts, you know, their female friends, and especially their daughters. But they think it's okay to go talk to someone else's female child that way. That's why I said that. So I can't even excuse it that way because they still had a woman in their life. So they were supposed to teach them how to, you know, treat her. But then, you know, I guess that kind of makes it sad because that just tells me 9 times out of 10 then their mama was treated like crap. So they don't know how to treat a woman right. And that's really sad. You know, it's like chivalry's become dead over the years. But then there are a lot of people out there who will argue with that too and say, no, it's not chivalry that's dead. It's feminism that took over. It's like, okay, maybe to some degree, there's, you know, that's partly right. That's partly true, but not 100%. I think it's a mixed bag. I think some are out there looking for that excuse of why they shouldn't, like, treat a woman right, properly, or how they would have expected their mom to be treated by their dad and so forth. So, because more women are becoming more independent, we'll say, not so much, you know, feminism, just independent. Maybe some don't like being treated that way, but that tells me, though, it's not that they don't want to be treated that way, it's the fact that they've never been treated that way before, so they don't know how to take it. But if they grew up like me, then it's part of my custom. That's what I grew up with. I'm accustomed to a man, you know, opening up the car door, opening up all my doors, helping me with my coat, helping me with the bags, even offering to carry my purse, going out to eat, sitting on the outside of the table to shield me, walking on a sidewalk. They stayed on the outer side of the sidewalk that's closest to the street to protect me. Um, and so on. And plus, the little, romantic gestures that I used to watch my daddy do. He would buy my mama flowers just because. Um, but he would absolutely do it on special occasions. And he also cooked for her, but he cooked for all of us. And he would buy my mom a piece of jewelry once every year. My mama got a new piece of diamond jewelry every year from him. Um, I've watched him get very extravagant for Valentine's Day for her, and take her out, because one of the things that I learned from my parents is they never stopped dating each other. So my daddy still took my mama out on a date every week, even after they got married. Um, and though he was very macho, very masculine, he still had a heart of gold. And he also wasn't afraid to cook, clean, or do laundry. And also cut the grass and take the garbage out. That's what I grew up with. So guys look at me crazy like, what? What do you mean, what? That's the household I grew up in. That's what I was taught. Exactly, Judith. You see, it's the extra thought and attention to it, too, where they think you out and they actually put in the effort. But that seems to be a lot to ask for today. And I don't get why. I struggle to understand that. Like, so if both my dads were alive right now, I mean, they would be doing laps around these guys because they would probably line all of them up, say, nope, you're not taking my baby anywhere. Get off my property. They were protective. And so my brothers kind of act that way now. And then my daddy's best friend acts that way with me. That's beautiful, Judith. And he can't be respectful. You don't need to bring him home. I knew, who I could bring home. Are you serious, Tim? Ads on TV, they promote wearing your clothes for multiple days without washing. No, can't handle that. That's crazy. And that's awesome, Judith. I'm so happy your baby girl found someone that's very respectful and treats her like a queen as she deserves to be treated. Just as much as I know she treats him like a king. And that's the way it's supposed to be. Like I watched with my parents. Just as much as my daddy worshipped the ground my mama walked on, she worshipped the ground he walked on too. And they were a true team. And that's what I loved watching between them and my grandparents who were married for over 50 years. They were best friends. Like, even in their golden years, my grandfather was always there by my grandmother's side. Whatever my grandmother wanted, whatever she needed, my grandpa did it without question. And he also cooked. He also helped clean the house. He also would throw a load of laundry in the washer. And he would go out and cut the yard, work in the vegetable garden, take out the pets, and take out the garbage. So, people are like, oh, that must be the new thing. No, this is my grandparents who were born in 1910. So, yeah, the scented beads. Is that what you're talking about, Tim? That's what makes the clothes last longer to where you can wear them a second time without actually washing them. I've never used them. I use Gang. Exactly, Judith. But you know what, beautiful? Most of them don't know how to have a face-to-face conversation with somebody. That's the problem. And it's exactly the reasons why you said, because they always got their head stuck up their butts. But what I mean is on their, gadgets, their devices like their phones and computers and laptops and such. So they don't know how to have a conversation many times. And it's sad. And I don't get it. But, you know, if they can't, I guess I struggle to understand. It's like, if you can't have a conversation with people, how are you supposed to land yourself a job? Like, how are you supposed to be productive in this world we live in today? How are you supposed to, first apply for a job, second, get the job, which means go for an interview, which means you got to have a conversation 9 times out of 10, face to face, and then show up for your job unless, it's strictly remote or you're traveling all the time. Like, but even travel, you still deal with people. And most jobs, even working remotely, you still got to deal with people on some type of level. Okay, yeah, you're not face to face, but they do have Zoom calls. I mean, that program came out originally for professions, so it blows my mind. I don't get it. I try to make sense of it, but I just still can't make sense of it anymore. Yeah, you just got reported. You think you're being funny. I can't wait, Ben, for you to lose that account. And if you don't think you're going to lose it, guess again. See you, bye. Judith, report that idiot too. If you can, beautiful. I know, beautiful, but you're being too hard on yourself. Because being a parent, that's hard work. Like, I know I was a difficult child, okay? Does that mean I was out there getting in trouble, breaking law and stuff? No. But I wasn't easy, especially in my teenage years. I was very rebellious, but, a lot of people would say, well, it's understandable because you were going through a very traumatic experience, with my mother being diagnosed when I was 14 years old and then having to be her caregiver and such. I mean, that's all true, but I was still not being empathetic and not acting maturely as, I do, you know, now. And as I, started to do, within the last year before she passed away and so on. But I could see, the challenges my parents had trying to raise me and my siblings. It wasn't easy. So thank you, sweetheart. I appreciate it. So have you raising your baby by yourself, honey? You need to give yourself a round of applause, Judith. The fact that you raised her so well as a single mama. That's not an easy thing to do. And, I really believe single parents, it doesn't matter whether it's man or the woman, they really have the toughest of tough jobs trying to raise kids by themselves. And, that even if they are able to still co-parent their child, or children, where, child's, other parent, most of the times though, they're, one parent, has the kids most time. That's hard to do. So I kudos to you, Judith. Truly, honey. Yep. Report it again. I hope you have fun, Ben Javier. Because like I said, You won't have that account much longer. And it's time to block him too. See you, bye. Oh, that's okay, honey. So be proud of yourself, Judith. I'm proud of you, sweetheart. You know, I think that's probably one of the reasons why, um, I mean, the biggest reason, my two biggest reasons for not having kids mainly was because I had already taken on the responsibilities of taking care of my mama when I was, a teenager. And with, being her caregiver also meant I had to take on more of the motherly role to a certain degree when it came to my younger brother. And then after she passed away, because he was still underage, she was in high school, in a freshman year in high school, in fact, when she passed away, I had to step in. And that took a lot out of me. So even trying to do it to the degree I did it to my younger brother, it was rough, honey. So you doing it full time, I applaud you. But I think from that experience, it taught me a lot. It obviously made me grow up really fast, among other things. Um, but it also helped me appreciate my parents' role a lot more and to understand it better than what I had in prior years before. And it also made me completely decide that no, I wasn't going to have any kids of my own because I didn't want to take on that responsibility. And I didn't want it to do it by myself. Not that I can't. I know I could. But do I really want to? If push came to shove, do I have it in me? And I wasn't positive I did. And knowing twins runs on both sides of my family, and my mama said I'd be the one to have twins, nope, that's not happening either. So those are my two main reasons. And I feared. The other biggest reason is I feared. Having kids, I would end up leaving them young like my mama left us. And I didn't want that for my kids. I didn't want them to experience that pain me and my siblings had to go through. You know, I barely survived it. My siblings barely escaped through it. Barely. So you being able to do that, Judith, I applaud you, sweetheart. Hello, D-Bad. How you doing? It's 1:11. Well, I reckon I'm fixing to go since I don't have any paid readings. I can't hang out all night, beautiful people. It doesn't pay the bills. So, and I gotta get a couple other things done. So, beautiful people. Well, thank you, honey. I highly respect you too, Judith. Like I said, honey, I'm proud of you for being able to do it by yourself. I'm the only one out of my mama's 4 kids who didn't have kids. My other 3 siblings, they all have kids. My older brother has 2. My younger sister has 3. My younger brother has 2 biologically, but he has 4. Because his wife had 2 kids before they got married. So he considers the other 2 kids his, which is highly admirable of him. So I'm the only one that don't have any. But I don't regret my decision. I wasn't meant to have kids of my own, and I knew it. God had other plans for me. Well, beautiful people, it's 1:15. It's been a quiet night. I've enjoyed hanging out with y'all. But I guess I'm going to go. I'm going to close it down for the night. If I'm still waking a little later, maybe I'll come back later. But if not, I'll be back tonight, Friday night, 10 p.m. Eastern. So I hope y'all will come back and, you know, see me again. And if you're just in a paid reading, I'll be here again Friday night to do them. So I'm going to wish y'all a wonderful night, sweet dreams, and I hope y'all have a wonderful, beautiful day tomorrow. Good night.